Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Overcoming Graduation with Brian Worrier, a show where I work to teach you everything I wished I'd known about life to help you graduate to the next level in your own. Today is another installment of The Morning Commute, where I take my ride to work in the morning to share a short but powerful message with you to help you kick your day off on the right foot. And today's message is this: you're not a worrier, procrastinator, or a quitter. There are times when I'm listening to an audiobook and I'm just so thankful that the person is alive. The person sharing that message, whether it's an audiobook or a written book or YouTube video or podcast, there's times where I just go, thank God this person exists and that they're doing what they do and that they have committed to sharing this message and they're working to get it out there, because there are so many times where I hear messages from incredible people like the person I'm about to talk about today, and I go, thank God, because I feel less crazy. Oh, really? I'm not the only one. Okay, thank God I'm not the only one battling these things, thinking these things, working myself up into a frenzy. Thank God, because it can feel pretty lonely at times, and there's times we can get so in our own head and our ego can get so loud that we go, yeah, there's nobody that's this crazy, bro. You're definitely the worst one. You're definitely the craziest one they've ever seen. Nobody else is going to be able to relate to this. So, here, one sec, guys. Just got to merge. There we go. Like I said, morning commutes are real. So we're actually driving, so there's times where I have to focus. So I am currently listening to the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. And this is all about how to change habits and how to reshape your life using a simple principle that she calls the 5-second rule. And in its very simple essence, and it may sound so simple that it's crazy, you literally, when you feel resistance or when you feel the urge to do something, when you're excited about something, if you wait longer than 5 seconds, that's when your brain can come in and start creating all this resistance and reasons you shouldn't and doubt and fear. But if you, like she does, go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Because one day she pretended that NASA was there. And she wanted to break her habit of getting out of bed in the morning, so all she did was say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And all of a sudden she had broken her habit for the first time in months. And then she used this principle to reshape every area of her life, because she realized there's this 5-second window where we will take our thought, take our ambition, take that deep knowing and that intuition and that drive and that excitement, fervor for life, and we will kill it with our brain and rational thought and fear. And the thing is, we often call it rational thought, but I think we so frequently are using rational thought as a mask or as a guise for fear. Because we go, well, I'm just being rational. I'm just being rational. Because then it puts us in a place of, well, that makes perfect sense on why you wouldn't take that shot or do that thing or talk to that person, because you're being rational, and rational is good. It's like, nah, sometimes. Hell, a lot more times I'd like to have the dreamer, and I'd like to be the dreamer who takes action and learns from his mistakes. Because the rational mind and the rational thought is meant to keep you where you are, and it's meant to reason and logic. So reason and logic is good, but those little things, what Mel Robbins talks about, it's the little things throughout the day. It's those little decisions, those little moments. That's what we're talking about. She's like, if you need to buy a house or make a life-changing decision and you need to do some research, that's totally different. It's the little decisions that lead to these bigger things. It's the little decisions where, all right, maybe you do have a big financial decision to make, but you keep putting it off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get started on the research. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, call the lawyer, call the doctor, call the accountant, call whoever you need to call for what these things. It's to get you acting and doing the things you need to create the life you want. So the thing that she said that I heard just today was so powerful. That was also very healing for me, and very thank God she is doing what she's doing, because I needed to hear this. Past couple days, very stressed, anxious, worrying, even though I'm in the middle of morning mastery right now. So we're we're 5 or 6 days in now as of this recording. Things are going great. I've hit my goal every day. My mornings are starting to reshape. I'm starting to shift my identity. I'm supporting the group as we go through it. The group is supporting me. It's this beautiful thing. But also, I'm like, well, shit, I'm not happy every day. and it's been 5-6 days, which is funny because it's like having the patience to allow these things to really shift, not just expecting the instant gratification, is a big piece. But on the other hand, what's really important is what she said in the passage I listened to today. She said, you're not a worrier. You're not an anxious person. You're not lazy. You're not any of these things you deem yourself to be. You have a habit of being anxious. You have a habit of being lazy. You have a habit of being a worrier. You have a habit of not keeping your promises. Because all of a sudden, when we decide that, we realize that, and we shift the focus to the habits, it no longer becomes an identity and a flaw and this unchangeable characteristic of who we are. And it shifts to become, hey, this is just something that I have reinforced over time by small decisions I've made that have continued to create a belief in a certain reality. For me, that's hugely freeing. I hope it is for you. For me, it's like, well, damn, I don't have anxiety, and that's just like, it's like I have an arm. It's like I have anxiety. I have stress. I have these things. Because then it just becomes this big discussion of, well, that's just part of who I am. And many times our mind will fight to protect our identity to the point where we drive ourselves insane. We say, no, I'm anxious, because now you're starting to feel good. Stop that. You're an anxious person. Live in that identity. Versus, I have a habit of being anxious, and I can choose or not choose anxiety in this moment. What do I want to choose? It brings it back into choice. It brings it back into the realm of possibility, and it gives us freedom. And guys, habits are not necessarily easy to change. And even deeply ingrained positive habits some days aren't easy. Even if you've been going to the gym for years, there's some days where it's like, God, I just want to stay in bed. And maybe some days you don't hit your positive habit, or maybe some days you do backslide into your negative habit. But when you pull it out from an identity conversation and put it into a habit conversation, it totally changes the game. So like I said, I heard this today, so I'm just starting to do this now. I'm just starting to say, I have a habit of, not I am. And in fact, even in my morning routine, and part of morning mastery is an identity reframing every morning, where we choose an identity that empowers us. And so, moving forward, I'm going to work to use this new tool and this new principle, not just the 5-second rule, but the concept that anything that I am wanting to change in my life is just a choice of a habit that can be changed. There are people who smoke their entire lives. And I don't even have a specific example right now. I just know this has got to be true. There are people who smoke their entire lives and quit. I've heard stories of this. There are people who did one thing their entire life for 70 years and then stopped. Actually, here's an example. My grandpa was a drinker and a smoker up into his 60s and 70s, and then ultimately decided that he no longer wanted to. And my parents encouraged it because his health was being affected, and he stopped. Stopped at his 60s and 70s doing these things he had done every day for his entire adult life. So I know that feeling, and I know that voice that says, well, you can't change this. This is you. This has always been you. Don't let go of me. You're going to let go of who you are. Stop that. Keep your identity. Why are you trying to get rid of me? Why are you trying to end this version of you? Because what my mentor Sean Stevenson taught me is that we treat that as death. Death about an identity, death of who we have decided we were or who we committed to be for so long, feels like death. So our brain is doing everything in its power to keep us from doing that. It's trying to pull us back, distract us, and go back to porn. That's probably a better idea. Or shifting the identity or proving yourself right about the things you want to be right about. Just stop. Just keep being you. Stay safe. But man, isn't it crazy how in our safety so many of us feel miserable, unfulfilled, terrified. No, but Brian, safety is supposed to make me feel good and safe. Safety is supposed to mean I feel okay and I'm not scared. I think the reason we stay in our safety so much is we're terrified. That's why. What if I really did achieve these dreams? And what if I did eventually leave my job? What if I did eventually go into business for myself? What if it succeeded so much? And what if I had expectations on me and people were counting on me? And what if I couldn't level up? And what if boom, boom, boom. We just go down this rabbit hole in a second where all of a sudden we say, I'm just being rational, I'm just being realistic. This generally doesn't happen. Most people don't succeed. Most businesses fail. This is when your brain comes into the conversation. That's why you don't give it time and you use what Mel Robbins teaches, the 5-second rule. You go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, game time, action. Because the action paired with belief is how we shift our identity and shift our habits. Belief you can change, belief that you are a different person than you've told yourself. And that action to back it up, that's what creates lasting change that I've seen, that's what I've heard. That's because it's one thing to say it, it's one thing to do it, it's one thing to reinforce it, and then it's also another thing to shift the identity associated with the habit that you're trying to change. Because that's why I believe, and that's what I've heard from my coaches and mentors, that so many people fail at diets is because they believe I'm a fat person. I'm not good enough to lose this weight. I don't deserve to feel good. And so they do things that reinforce that. Rather than say, I deserve to be loved. I love myself. My identity is a person who celebrates the beauty and the joy of life every day. My identity is someone who is constantly working and growing and loving myself no matter what, and creating more reasons to create happiness, actively creating more joy. That's who I am. That's my identity. That's what I want to be. That's what I'm going to be. That's where a lot of our power lies. So much of our power just in the choice to control what we can control, let go of what we can't, and take action. So guys, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Where do you need to apply that today? And where are you accepting a bullshit identity that is weak and not self-serving? And I say weak because I want it to sting, because we choose to accept weak identities because they often help us get sympathy or get pity or connect with the people around us. But if that's all we're connecting on, are these really the people we want to be around? I'm not saying don't support your friends when they're in tough things, but the people who want to stay complaining about things their entire life and not make any changes about it, is that really who you want to be around? Hey, maybe you all are there and you want to level up together. Yes. But if people try to drag you down when you try to grow, that's a great sign that maybe these aren't people that you want to keep in your life. So guys, thank you all for listening today. I want you to think about in your life, where in your life are you accepting that identity, and how can you apply the 5-second rule from Mel Robbins to change that one decision at a time, so that in a few days, weeks, and months, your life looks completely different and is so much better and so much more the version of what you want life to be. I love you guys. Thank you all for listening. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. If you'd like to reach out to me directly to recommend interviewees, to give feedback on the show, ask questions you'd like me to answer on air, reach out to Brian at overcominggraduation.com. And if you'd like to talk about coaching or any other opportunities that you see that could potentially be a good fit, if you'd be interested in working with me on how to reform your habits to live your best life, reach out to me at Brian at overcominggraduation.com. I love you guys. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for being a part of this show. It's time for me to get going. Go use that 5-second rule to have a phenomenal day.